Hi
Uh,
everyone. This week's topic is culture brings connection. Now, communities can bridge the gap and breathe together through understanding. This is my idea that we can, through understanding of other people's cultures, be more connected as a community. So, this week's culture on the Busy Mom show is from Nepal. Now, our special guest this evening is Rasna Palanchoke, and she is from Nepal. Now, I don't know much about the Nepalese culture, so stick around for the next hour to find out about this culture. It's a unique race and culture, and I'm sure a lot of you would have a lot of questions. So, Rasna Palanchoke, she came here as a student in 2009, and since then she's been living in Sydney. And from studying, she's decided to volunteer at community Radio Skid Row, I believe, and she's been running this Nepalese show for 4 years. She has a bachelor's in IT and a diploma in leadership and management. She's always been passionate about radio, so I'm going to find out more about that. And she's worked back in her country for 6 months as a presenter as well, and had a different function. Now, she's helped her community in recent COVID times during flooding and raised lots of money. She's a huge advocate for fundraising, I believe, and her show has done a cultural outside broadcast to raise money for the victims. Now, she's in Sydney. She's promoting her language, of course, on her Nepalese program at Skid Row, and she's also passionate about the cultural events that are happening here and keeping the tradition alive. And she has many connections here in Sydney with her local Nepalese community and back home. And she's here to talk about everything that we don't know about the Nepalese culture, because are they inclusive with the rest of the society? Text in 0405 905 905 if you have a Nepalese friend. Welcome to the show, Rasna. A huge welcome to my fellow colleague from Community Radio.
Ross, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me to be part of this wonderful, wonderful show. We managed to catch up during the conference, and it's a great privilege for me to be in your show as well. And you're an amazing, amazing host, amazing mom. I
And
can
I
see on the
remember, do you
Facebook.
remember
And
when I
then,
met you? I said to you, wow, I didn't know Nepalese was so well, first of all, I've only seen a few people from Nepal. I don't even have a Nepalese friend. And I
yeah,
thought, look at this lady. She's so educated, articulate. I've never met anybody from the Nepalese community. And the first one I met and became a
yeah,
friend of, she's a radio producer in Sydney. So remember when I mentioned that to you?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it was, again, as I said, um, talking about Nepalese, like for me, I came in 2009, as you mentioned earlier. We didn't have a lot of Nepalese people back then. Like, there was very limited number of Nepalese people, and we were very limited. We did have a radio show. The show that I run currently has been running for past 21 years. I've been here for 15 years. We had a brother who passed away recently, but he was running the show. But again, as I said, we were not in a broader community. We were still in a smaller numbers, and then not everyone knew about Nepal and Nepalese
Yeah,
culture.
I think that's
But
what
having
it
said
is. Yeah.
that, yeah,
I think it's not that you were
and then
inclusive,
again,
you were a very
yep,
small, growing community, and you probably had to
that's correct.
travel away back to your country a lot to establish.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So, look, Nepal has been there for forever. With a long history.
Mhm.
Nepal never colonized, so we do not celebrate Independence Day or anything because we
Oh,
were never colonized.
let's tell me about
Never,
that. Never.
yes, Nepal was never colonized. So Nepal was when the British India, as you know, was
Yeah.
in India as an East India company.
Mm.
So they, when we had an Anglo-Nepal war, we had a treaty where we had to sacrifice our lands. So currently, it is in India, some part of India. But again, as I said, we were never colonized. So we fought during the war as well against the British company. That's why Nepalese soldiers, it's called, named as Gurkha soldiers. I'm sure you're aware of Gurkha soldiers. So
Oh,
they've got a special regiment in Britain, in UK, in Singapore, in Hong Kong. So they've got a special place for Gurkha soldiers. So
oh my
every year,
goodness. So there's no
yes,
king.
every year.
You don't bow to the
So we
king
don't
of.
celebrate, nah. So we don't say we had a kingdom before, But then now we are a republic country, so we had a change. That happened like 15 years ago. So we had a kingdom before. We had a different kings, as a kingdom, as I said. But when we fought for, we fought for republic, to be a republican, and then now we have prime minister and a president. We don't have king. But again, as I said, we were never colonized, so we never celebrated Independence Day or anything like that.
Oh my goodness,
We
that's so
yeah,
beautiful. That is so,
yes,
this is really empowering. So the women, are they
yep.
strong as well in Nepal? Are they very, very
Look,
resilient?
we had our first president of our country when we got rid of the kingdom, kings and all, and we had president and prime minister. We had a first Nepalese president as well. We never had a Nepalese prime minister, if I'm not wrong. But again, as I said, if I talk about maybe 50 years back or even 100 years back, women were obviously didn't have choice to go out, didn't have choice to get education, didn't have choice to go out and talk about their opinion of freedom. There was no freedom for women.
Mm.
But in past 50 to 60 years, I have to tell you, as I read back the history, women have been moving forward. We have women running the country. We've got women running the banks. Like we've got women running the bigger media industry as well. Like in different scenario. We recently had a younger, like age like 20 years or something as a ministry of health. So we've got, like, the time had changed. We've got a lot of women representing our country internationally as well. And then now women are free for education, and then also for healthcare. When we had very limited resources, I have to tell you again, as I said, it was not that we, as a country, or our constitution said, education is free for everyone. Everyone has a right for education. However, as you know, women are always, we have the thought that, oh, women are meant to be for kitchen, something like that. That's always, especially in Asian household, we say, oh, women are meant to, get married, have kids, kitchen, and that's all. But that has changed, completely changed. Now women wants to have education, and then get work, and then get married when they are capable. Like, they don't want to depend with their husband or husband's family on at all. They're independent, and they want to work, and they want to get education. So that had changed. It had changed completely. And then again, as I said, we got women's representing in sports, and we had never in my life I had that hype, because we are recently playing in South Asian Football Federation actually for women's, and we just defeated India for semi-final, and we're playing against Bangladesh tomorrow on Wednesday. This is 30th of October, against Bangladesh for the final. So again, as I said, things have changed. We now are moving forward, and then women are coming forward as well.
So how did you find Skid Row? Were you looking for a radio station, or it just happened?
So look, I as I said, I've always been passionate about radio and media. So when I came here, my co-host who does the show as well, we used to work together, and she used to know the brother who used to run the show, and so she has already done a year, like 1 year with him, and he unfortunately passed away. And then she asked me, "Would you like to join? This is a voluntary radio. We don't get paid, but we are giving for the community." I said, "Absolutely," because that's what I'm passionate about. I want to give it back
Don't
to the
bother you,
community.
don't get paid. You didn't even think about
Yeah,
that. Huh.
no, I didn't even think about like not getting paid or anything, because we knew that it's not only about going there for 3 hours and talking in the show. It's more than that. You've got to
I
prepare
know your show
yourself.
is 3 hours, 3 hours. So how
Absolutely,
do
yes.
you manage that? You're not talking for 3 hours. You play some music, go have a cup of
No,
tea.
we do play. So we've got so where we start with our intro music, and we play our national anthem to start with, and then we play a national song, and then we start with the calendar. We got a separate. Our calendar is different than the regular calendar. We got our Bikram Sambat. It's called Bikram Sambat. So that's the calendar. So we talk about the calendar, and then we talk about what's happening around our community, and we do play music all along as
Yeah.
well. And again, we've got all, like, our country is known for festivals. So we've got, like, out of 365 days, we celebrate 366 festivals. What we
Oh,
say. So every festival has their own music, their own song. So what we would do is, if let's for Diwali, which is happening this weekend, we've got a song for Diwali as well. So we would play that song during the Diwali. For Holi, the color festival,
mm.
in the color festival, you have it as well.
Yes.
So we
Would you
have
be
got
able to
song
give me
for,
some
yeah,
songs? send me a few songs, Nepalese
Absolutely.
songs. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would be more than happy to sing a
Thank
song. So
you.
that's how we normally say. And then we got new artists as well that we play their song. And we also have local artists here as well. And we got connected and say, we've just released the song. Would you be able to play this song? And we bring them in our show as well. So that's how we do also. And 3 hours is a lot of time, as I said.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I met. And that's how I met. Went to Skid Row, and now in 4 years, COVID happened and we had to record our show. As you are aware, we were not allowed to go to the studio. However, our passion for radio didn't die.
Mm.
So
And
no
you
matter what,
sounds
we were
like
like
you don't have
recording for
enough.
three hours.
You never will run out of topics too.
Never, because and as I said, there's always things to talk about. If there's no community events there's always something happening around other culture as well. So we would also sometimes talk about what's happening within the like in Australia as well. Like we'll talk about local election, like federal election, and also about what's happening with the New South Wales Multicultural Society and all over Australia, not only in this New South Wales.
And
So that's how we would
who are
have
the
like 3 hours.
Nepalese who are the Nepalese leaders here in Sydney, New South Wales?
So we've got a non-resident Australian. I don't know if you're aware of NRN, which is non-resident Nepalese citizenship. So we've got NRNA Australia, who looks after all, like basically they're like our we consider them as our guardian as well, to be honest. We've got that association as well. We have a lot of other, to be honest, they've got a lot of association now
Oh, there's
these
a
days.
lot
But
of
again,
associations. There's more than
absolutely,
one.
because there's NR in Australia is basically for non-residents. So if you're a citizen already here, you would be able to become a member, and then you run for the president and all. But they organize the Nepal festival. I'll talk about that a little bit later. And they organize all these kind of festivals. So if there's any let's say for instance they are organizing like a free CPR and first aid training for Nepalese community. You normally have to pay for that, but they're like a guardian, so they would arrange these kind of trainings for international students, especially from Nepal. So these kind of things, and we've got other community as well that would be. I'll say there's a community for the multicultural only, like multicultural, where they're planning to build a community hall in Western Sydney. So that'll be coming in
Oh,
soon. We just had a recent press release as well, press meet. So we're trying to build like a greater Sydney multicultural community center.
that's
So
beautiful.
the budget,
Yeah.
yeah, the budget is over $5 million, and then so we are asking for donation because again, that I said, once that center is introduced, the second generation, third generation of Nepalese community would be able to go and see what Nepal is all about. We'll be building temples and all the function centers, so you could basically go there and get married as well, have your function because we'll be building like a community center. So we've got a lot of community centers and a lot of association working for Nepalese community, and I'm glad that we are part of that as well. And we normally go and have discussion about what can we do. For instance, the NRN Australia president, I'm like to mention his name, Anil. He's a wonderful leader for this particular association at this point of time. He's for me, what I feel like, for a country like us, we were not known 30, as I said, when I came 15 years ago, not everyone knew about Diwali, or not everyone knew about like the Holi and all. You know what I mean? But now everyone knows about it. So for me as a leader, I think it is very important that you advocate for your community. So he's doing that as well, and I'm glad that we are part of that team as well, where we advocate for our community. Like we would say, yes, this is what is happening in our community, and that's what we want to do for the community. It's all about introducing our tradition, our culture, as you mentioned. That minimizing that gap between different culture is what
Yeah.
I advocate for.
Yes. So
And then, and
all
yeah,
I knew from Nepal was well, recently the momos. You know those little ducks.
yes, yes. Look, Momo is really, really popular,
It is
to
so
be honest.
good.
Yeah, and with the sauce, everyone loves it. Everyone loves it.
It's so special.
Even if you watch some of the vlogs as well, like a lot of travelers back
Yeah.
home, no matter what, they will go for Momo because that's what it's
So
actually
what is the
Momo. So
catchphrase?
there's no plural form of Momo. So it's only Momo. You'll have a plate of Momo. So if you look in the internet as well, there's a debate saying it's not Momos, it's only Momo. So that's the thing. And
Yeah.
again, as I said, there's a lot of different food as well, but Momo is really
And the
popular. I
tea,
think,
Nepalese
yeah,
tea. Why is the
absolutely,
tea so
absolutely.
special?
Look, I think it's just the way you make it. I don't know how you make your tea, but if I'm making a nice masala tea, I will start with. Can I say how I make my tea?
Yes, please. Yes.
So normally, if I'm making a masala tea, I don't drink milk, but I would make for my friend. So I start with hot water, a little bit of hot water, and add the tea bag, the tea leaves, whatever leaves you use, or tea,
Mm.
and then just boil it, and then put tiny bit of sugar because I don't like much sugar. So just boil it and make sure if once the tea is really dark, the color, then you add the spices. Like I would add cardamom, cloves, and cinnamon stick and a bit of a ginger, and you boil it and then you add milk. And that's how it's really special. Adding ginger and black pepper, it's really good. Trust me, when you make your tea, try that. It's really good. Good for your tummy as well. And taste wise really good as well.
And Kathmandu, that's all we know as well. Kathmandu.
Yeah, so Kathmandu is the capital city of Nepal. Um, so obviously Kathmandu is home. Every street you go, I love to say something about Kathmandu. Every street you walk into Kathmandu, you'll find small temples. Like that was made in like 15th century, 13th century, 16th centuries. It's beautiful there. It's beautiful. You got a lot of castle as well. You got kingdom, like palaces and all. But it's wonderful place to visit. And I always feel Nepal is a best destination for, obviously we've got natural beauties, we've got Mount Everest, we've got Annapurna base camp. A lot of people goes for base camps as well. But other than that, there's a lot of places to visit. As I said, safari. If you go to Chitwan National Park, safari, it's a wonderful place to go. And then you've got Kathmandu, where it's like there's a lot of street foods. Not only in Kathmandu, like like eastern part as well. It's a wonderful place in eastern part as well. If you go to southern part as well, a wonderful place. Western side, everywhere is so beautiful. I would actually recommend you to go and look on internet as well, like about Nepal. It's beautiful place.
Think so. And how what do Nepalese people think when they first come to Sydney? Is it so different
Well,
to them?
based on my experience, based on my experience, the first thing first was, look, we don't address by their name. If I want to call someone back home, I will address. If he's elder, then I'll say brother, sister. If they're younger, then I'll call by name. If like for instance, when you go to school or when you're in like workplace as well, you'd never call your boss by their first name. We'd always say sir or ma'am. But here, when we came, we were addressing, like when I went to the university, we were addressing them by their name. I was like, oh, do I not have to say sir or like ma'am? You know what I mean? So that's something that I was like, oh, okay. And then it just got used to it, but it was different. It was obviously different because we never address anyone by their name, especially for the elder people and the teachers. That's like, we respect teacher. We think that teacher are God as well. And then I was like, okay, that's how it is. So I was a bit
And how is
surprised.
the
And the
education universities here compared to Nepal?
Look, it's we've got few big universities back home as well, and I do believe that the education back home is great. To be honest, I did come here for the education, but I did have option to stay back and study journalism, actually, media, because I did my year 11 and 12 in journalism media. So I had an option as well, but obviously I was teenager, 18 years old, saying, "Oh, I want to go
And
and
how is
explore
the
the world." So
radio
I came.
stations and TV stations there?
That we've got more than 200 radio stations. We've got more than 100 community radios. And the one reason I'm actually here is because of some of the radio presenters that I used to idolize them. They were wonderful. That particularly two women presenters. I'm in touch with one of the presenters still. She does present in a major commercial radio back home. I'm still in touch with her, but you know how you need someone to tell you, yeah, yeah, you could be a right person for this. Otherwise, sometimes you just get demotivated, saying, oh, maybe I might not be the fit person. But listening to them and then having chatting with them really really encouraged me, saying, okay, I can do something as well in the radio. That's how I got into it. So we've got a large number of female presenters as well. And when we talk about community radio as well, over 100 community radios all over the nation, a lot of female presenters, a lot of female, and really happy that they are actually encouraging young females to join in this, because normally, to be honest, even if you're in a commercial station, It's not a huge amount of money unless you've got like really good sponsorship. It's not a huge amount of money. But if you're passionate, I guess you will be there. You'll be putting your 100% effort as well. I think that's what I believe. And again, as I said, we've got a lot of visitors as well.
And do you
And there's one
broadcast,
particular
does your broadcast, you make videos to send back to Nepal to show them what's happening here?
Yeah, we do. Sometimes we do live as well, and sometimes I would send back home as well. And my parents would talk about that to my friends and all. And the good thing about our show is like because we've got connection, like we've got nice relationship back home as well. So we've got a lot of people from back home that we would interview. If they're releasing their song, or if they've got something going on, we would interview them as well. I think that's one good thing about working in a radio is you've got good relationship with a lot of these artists, for instance, like a musician, a composer, or like sports personality. Even we had a chance to interview one of the presenters from back home as well. He's a major broadcasters there. He produced, he's a model as well. But then we had a chance to interview him as well. And that's through the connection. That's how we
The
build the relationship
cross-cultural
by meeting.
relationships are still happening. That's
Absolutely.
so good.
Absolutely.
And there must be more tourism now between the two countries.
You know what? I was just recently listening as well. Before, this is 10 years back I'm talking about, Nepal was nowhere around. Now, in terms of international as well, I think Nepal is the number two, just under India. And in terms of tourism as well, we've got heaps of people coming, traveling around back and forth. We've got a lot of Australian traveling to Nepal, and there was a lot of tourists coming to Australia as well. It was not easy, it was not easy to get visa to travel to Australia before, but it's much more easier because, as I said, our community is very very diverse and broad now. So the government actually knows that it's a good country to generate revenue as well. To be honest, so it's again, as I said, I've got a lot of people here that I know if they are in tourist visa, they're traveling around,
Yeah, I've only
and
heard good things from your community. I haven't heard anything bad at
yes,
all. So
yes.
enriching. I think it's enriching everybody to go back and forward to each other's countries.
Absolutely. And in Nepal is a very, you don't need to save 20, $30,000 to travel Nepal. You don't need that much of money. You've got a couple of grants as well. You can still travel
So
and do
about two
basic stuff.
thousand
And
dollars will cover the expenses
if
then.
like that would be if you separate the airfare and if you have two grand, you go there, you'll be able to travel easily for 2 weeks. No issue. No issue. Yeah.
Sure. And how is the trains and everything? Buses.
So we don't have trains back home, and also I would like to point out we do not have any ship because our country is a landlocked country. We only have rivers, so we don't have cruise, and also we don't have ocean, we don't have beaches. We have rivers, we have lakes. Highest lake we've got rivers. If you look in the internet as well, so after Brazil, Nepal is the second largest country in terms of water resources, but then we don't have cruises and but that's how the thing is again.
So the
But
activities
we've
are
got
hiking, a lot of hiking.
hiking, trek, a lot of hiking, you can go to places all around hiking. I mean, it will never be enough in your lifetime. If you travel all around, it's never enough. I haven't done much hiking either, to be honest, because I came here when I was 18. I haven't done a lot of hiking, but my co-host is actually went for a hike. She's back home
Mm.
now. She just went for this beautiful lake, and she posted some photos. We'll be talking about that when she comes back. But again, there's plenty of places, heaps of places. Again, in a very very economical but good place to travel, and more as well.
It's clean, it's safe.
Yes, and it's very safe. I've just recently seen one of the videos, one of the travel bloggers from, I think she's from South Africa or somewhere. And she just posted. She's been to a lot of places, and she said she found Nepal one of the safest
Yeah,
countries for women. Especially for women, it's a bit difficult. Sometimes you get
yeah,
harassed and
difficult.
all.
Yeah.
She said she's been to so many countries, but she felt Nepal was one of the safest to visit for women, and that's what boosts as well. Like for the tourism industry, that's how we grow, and
Mm,
that's
I think
how we are in the map.
we
Yeah,
all need to go to the internet and have a good look. There's some interesting
absolutely,
things that you've
absolutely.
mentioned.
Yes.
Excellent. So what kind of in Sydney, what sort of cultural hubs are there where we can go and see some culture?
So I would like to invite you for on November 3rd. We have a Nepal festival. So Nepal festival has been I post COVID. This is the second time if we, due to COVID 4 years we couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
It is happening in Darling Harbour. You know the park in Darling Harbour, the big park.
Oh,
Yes. So we have anticipated over 20,000 people to
that's
participate.
massive. When did you start
Yes.
this? When did this start?
So this started. I think this started 2012, 13, if I'm not wrong. So
Good.
we've had that long. But again, as I said, there were not many Nepalese people back
Oh,
then. So the participation was not huge. But then last year we had in Burwood Park here in Sydney,
yes.
and they said the participation was over 30,000 people. So this year I'm guessing it'll be more than 20,000, 30,000 people. So
For
it'll start
sure.
from 12 o'clock. We'll have a parade as well. So everyone will be in their national costume for the parade. And then we'll have a cultural show as well, like dancing, all, and also we'll have a lot of food stall, so you'll be able to enjoy Nepalese food as well there, like momo and a lot of food as well. So 23rd of November, please, if you can just let your viewers know, listeners know as well. 23rd of November in Sydney. You're more than welcome to join from 12 p.m. It will go until 10 p.m. at night. We'll have parade. We'll have lots of food, dancing. It's all about embracing our culture. Again, as I said, it's about knowing, different cultures. Even we'll have people from, I remember we had people from different states, like from Canberra as well coming around, from business trip coming around. But having said that, Nepal Festival, in the past recent, from 2 years ago, they've said we're going to do Nepal Festival in every state. So we just recently had one in Perth. So we're doing one in Sydney, and then they're moving along to Brisbane, and then South Australia, Northern Territory, everywhere. So we are doing Nepal Festival everywhere. That's how much we've grown as a community here in Australia. Yeah,
Amazing. And I know you're a very busy woman and you work full time, but you're doing this for the community. You're not getting paid to promote culture of Nepal, but you're just
absolutely.
passionate about this.
Absolutely not. Look, I'm very patriotic, number one, and number two, I love to give out to the community and promoting my culture. I don't think I need to get paid to promote your own culture. No one should be saying, "Oh, I need to get paid because I'm promoting your event." No, because you're promoting your culture. You're promoting your country. You're promoting
And
your
how many
people.
languages are there? Do you know?
There are over 120 languages. That's just in the books. It'll be more than that. So Nepalese is our national language. So I belong to Newar community. So I've got my own language as well. So if I'm speaking with my parents, I've got different language compared to the Nepalese language, which is the national language. So it's over 120
That's a,
languages. And just in the book, as I said, it'll be more than that because we've got people living in remote areas where they're not explored, like, more. But then
and the
again, if we do
Nepalese
more
youth, what
research,
are the Nepalese youth doing? Are they learning their language?
honestly, that's something that worries me, that the second generation, third generation are not learning our language properly. Because to be honest, the problem I see is because in our country, right from the kindergarten, we have to study English as a compulsory subject. So we grew up studying English right from the kindergarten, right? So and it's everything is based on English. So whenever we are doing our exams and all, we are writing in English. So we're not promoting our language a lot, and that's something I feel that we need to work on these things. So I understand that's education, right? But then again, what about if you're in overseas? What about, sending your kids to this language classes? We have a language class as well. They teach a Nepalese language here. We've got one association who works for promoting Nepalese language. So they would
Oh,
send
very
their
good.
kids, yeah, exactly. So I would encourage everyone to do that because your kids need to know the culture, the language of your country, where they
Yeah.
come from. So I advocate for that as well, and I tell them, my friends as well. My friends, they've got babies as well. Say, make sure you're teaching Nepalese language because they need to know the language.
And Rasna, where do you
Yeah.
see yourself in 5 years' time? Are you still going to be doing this radio, or do you have some other plans?
Look, I'm planning to study grad diploma in radio and podcasting. That's happening probably not this year. This already almost done. 2025, I'm doing another course. This is certificate 4 in work health and safety, and then I'll be doing grad diploma in radio and podcasting. And my eventually my dream is to run an own media house. That I have my own media house where I
For the
can.
Nepalese community, or
That's correct for the Nepalese community. Well, my plan, I wish to open a dream media house back home. To be honest, I do not wish to stay here longer because I want to go back home and give back to my community back home, because that's what I feel like. I have already learned so many things here. I'll be learning a lot. I've gained so much experience. I still have a few more years here. I still want to learn more, but I would eventually want to go back and give it back to my community, back to my country. And that's what we should be doing. If you can, that is, if you're able to go back and give it back to your community. So I want to go back, and because back home, the way we run our
are they
shows and
disadvantaged? Are the youth disadvantaged there?
look, the employment rate is really, really low back home. I think that's why there's a lot of,
Yeah. So, Rasna,
yeah.
you were talking about the youth back home.
Yeah, so the employment rate back home is really low. I don't have the exact figure, but I know for sure that because of the less employment, there are a lot of people going overseas. So a lot of people back home goes in a working visa to country like Korea, Malaysia, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Dubai, and also the other countries like Japan, they would go for South Korea, they'll go for working visa. But then you have countries like America, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, they would go for their study, like for higher study, like their university degree and all. And they tend to settle abroad instead of, going back, they tend to settle abroad. Again, as I said, because you don't get paid well. Even if you get the job, you don't get paid well. Like if you compare Australia and Nepal, it's way
Yeah.
too
So
less,
you're losing a lot of the Nepalese overseas.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Because of that, as I said, we are still are fighting. There are a lot of people fighting for that. The young leaders back home, they're fighting with the government, saying, we need people, we need young people in the country. You can't have
Currency rate,
everyone.
the currency there
Sorry.
compared to
So
Australia.
one Australian dollar is equals to like around 90 rupees back home. Yeah. So, so that's why people like, yeah, you know what, I'll just go to Australia, I'll just go to America, and even if they earn like $200, if they save $200, that'll be too much because back home, your monthly salary would be around $200, whereas it's completely different in here. So that's why a lot of people choose to stay in abroad, as I said, New Zealand, America, Australia, Canada as well, and a lot of people going to Denmark, Portugal, and all.
So there's no
Mm.
solution if the economy is so weak.
Exactly, yeah. And
What kind of exports do the country produce?
look, to be honest, we had a very unstable government, and we used to export a lot of. If I'm not wrong, because I came here really young, but we used to export lot to India before and to other nations as well, especially in South Asia. But because of unstable government, we have failed as a nation. To be honest, we are rich in natural resources, but we fail to utilize that. But having said that, recent president for the electricity, because I'll tell you one interesting fact about Nepal. When there was a corrupted leader, I have to tell you because we are one of the corrupted nations in the world. I have to accept that fact. So we used to have a time where there was no electricity for 18 hours out of 24 hours. This is around 2005, 2006 until 2010. So if you are studying, you have to make sure you're studying because you won't have light. There's like 18 hours of no light. Um, and then we were told that we are in loss, so the government can't produce enough electricity, so we have to buy from India, and we are the richest country in water resources. So I don't know how that was possible. Anyway, when one of the government changed and we had a new leader in that particular association, and now we've made profit over, if I'm not wrong, we've made profit over $100 million. And now we are selling electricity to part of India and Bangladesh.
So you're
So that's
supplying,
how we are
supplying other.
actually we are actually selling electricity to Bangladesh and part of India. Now actually we are generating money where the government 10 years back said, oh, we didn't have money. So we were like, literally didn't have electricity for 18 hours. And that's what one leader can make difference. I would like to focus that part
That's
as
so
well.
good.
How one leader, exactly. If you have a leader that actually wants to change the society, then anything, you can change it. You just need to have that passion. He was an educated leader. He's still running the Electricity Association. But as I said, one leader can make a huge difference. And for you and for me as well, we come across as a community broadcasters, but we are one sort of leader as well in order to promote our culture in this community,
I
you
like
know.
I like to yeah, I like the sound of that. And any final ideas that you have for Australians and Nepalese communities and collaborations?
Absolutely. I mean, it'll be wonderful to collaborate with Australian community as well. I do have a lot of friends that I normally would share ideas saying, how about we have a cultural show where Australian music and Nepalese music come along and we embrace each other music. That's one way to do it as well. You know what I mean? That's one way to do it. And then we could do like a food venture as well. That's one way to embrace our culture, because I know these days a lot of people knows about Nepalese people, but they still don't know about like a lot of foods. It's not only I told you, it's not only about momos. There's a lot of foods.
Of course, you said
It's not,
100 languages. You said there's
100
more
language
than 100. And
exactly.
can you imagine the
So
cuisines in every
exactly. So that's why, like, I would love to have some sort of event together. And then I always feel like we always have to be out there in the community, Ross. You know what I mean? We have to be there so that people know about us. When I talk about our community radio at work, I say, "Oh, so you do it for what do you? Why do you do it?" I say, "Because I want my community to be known in this year, because we've got our voice as well, and I want my voice to
you
be
just
heard."
don't want one particular or few countries talking on radio. You want to represent.
Absolutely. I think, as I said, I think we have to, give pat to ourselves as well, that we are doing what we can.
And it's a sense of
Eh,
identity. You're actually making yourself feel belonging to this Australians. Yeah,
Absolutely, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And then Australia is all about multicultural society now. We promote about diverse backgrounds and all. And it is wonderful that we are able to, you know, I never thought in my life that I'll be able to come and we do a show in my language. I mean, like, oh, how did that happen? So I sometimes like, how did I manage to, run a show in a Nepalese language in Australia? You know,
I'm also wondering how I never met anyone from Nepal until I met you. So,
I
like,
don't know how. I don't
only
know how that
people I
happened. And
met was
Nepalese people
making the
everywhere.
momo or making the tea. I didn't know anyone else.
There's hundreds of people around, and there's like you live around the Bokome areas, and I think a lot of people in West as well.
Yeah,
Look,
in
to be
Auburn,
honest,
there's so
Nepalese
many
people, yeah,
Nepalese people in different groups.
yeah. There were 2009 when I came in. There was one grocery store, Nepalese grocery store in Rockdale that I knew of, and there's one in Auburn. Now, if
No,
you go to Rockdale, there's like every second store is a Nepalese store. If you go to Auburn, every second store is a Nepalese store. That's how much we've grown.
amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're heading back to work early in the morning. You're working very hard and contributing to your community. What about the Nepalese beauty pageants? Is there anything like that?
Look, we do have like Miss Nepal back home. I haven't heard anything you doing it here, but we do Miss Nepal, and they go and represent in Miss Universe and Miss World. We do have that as well. Um, Look, we've got participants going all over. As I said, our
Yeah,
education these days are really good. So they're women are really good with their project and all. And so a lot of beauty pageant that happens back home as
yeah.
well.
But I'm
Yeah.
sure radio will announce it when there's something happening.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's any event happening, we definitely we do that as well.
So tell everyone about which channel your radio station is.
So our radio says Radio Skidoo 88.9. You can listen us 88.9, and we are on air every Monday from 5 to 8 p.m. And then you can listen us through Community Radio Plus app as well. We are there as well. Plus, our website is www.radioskidrow.org. You can listen from there as well. And you can get in touch with us, Himalayan Radio 18.9, the first Nepalese voice in Australia, our Facebook page. And then you can get in touch with me personally, Rasna Palanchoke. Rasna is my first name. My last name is Palanchoke. You can get in touch with me as anytime. I'm always welcome to welcome our people from all over the community.
Thanks, Rasna. We got the
Thank
interview.
you.
Have a great night.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ross. Thank you very much. I'll get in touch with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.